Hey, good morning, Mike Kelly. Thanks for being here today.
Good morning, Ed Parcaut. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing how our world is these days. I'll just leave it at that. We always have stuff we can complain about. Let's not do that today. Let's just talk about some good stuff.
Let's be positive.
All right. I don't know if anybody saw the live I did yesterday, and I actually did a presentation on the record low inventory and how many homes we have versus how many people, actual houses we have. I only want to do 2 slides, and then we can just go to everything you want to talk about. Is that all right?
Everything I want to talk about.
Everything.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
I got a lot.
All right. So this is where peak of 2007, when we went through our huge major problem, we had 3.7 million homes available. Today, let me go over here. Today we have.
Let's reiterate. This isn't Modesto.
This is nationwide. No, if this was Modesto, it'd be worse.
Yeah.
We have 100 homes available. So this is nationwide, 870 current homes available for sale. And so when you hear the news out there saying, house value, inventory is, the market is dropping because they're not selling as many homes as they did last year or the year before. Well, if you don't have the inventory, you can't sell the homes.
Correct.
And that's the skew that the media puts out there. So
it's a pretty soundbite. It's a nice soundbite.
Yeah. And then, so that's that one. And the next one is, if I can get it to move.
So 870,000 homes nationwide.
Yes. All right. So number of households that we had from 2007, when we had 3.7 million houses for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then today we have 129 million households, right? So that is 14 million more households and almost 3 million fewer homes available. So meaning that we're short 3 million fewer homes.
There's a gap there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there's a math problem. I'm not really a math major, but I think there's an issue here.
I always wanted to be a math magician, but I just never was very good at it.
All right. So, and that's all I want to get at is this is because people keep saying I'm waiting for a bubble. The bubble's coming. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's not coming.
Yeah.
And so the other thing I wanted to talk about is another headline I heard about was Zillow put a thing out there and the media jumped on it saying that they're saying that the house values are going to go down next year. Let me clarify that headline. Basically, Zillow said instead of 17.8% appreciation, they see 14.9% appreciation. So yes, they jumped on the 3% difference and said that it's going down. I would prefer a 10% appreciation because if you know anything right now, we're pricing a lot of people out of homes.
Completely out of the market.
Yes. And to a point where we don't know how anybody's going to buy what they have to do. But the positive thing is you always get a different job to be able to afford right now with 11 million jobs available.
That's true.
And I saw don't tell my wife, but I went through In-N-Out when I dropped her off at the airport over there by the Burlingame, and their In-N-Out has $19 an hour to start up to $24 an hour.
I wonder what the $24 an hour position is.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Probably working over 32 hours.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So when you first came in the studio, you were talking about, you had a phone call about, you were talking about a lady who was thinking about selling her house.
Well, yeah, thinking about actually helping a friend out and doing she called it a rent to own, in the same vernacular with us realtors is a lease option. And it's an interesting thing to come up. We used to do this a lot. When home prices were, oh my gosh, probably $85 a square foot, as opposed to the $295 a square foot average in Modesto right now. And people they didn't have the down payment. They were payment rich, but cash poor. The market was oversaturated with homes, and a way to get people in would be to do the lease option. It's been, my gosh, probably 20 years since we've heard lease option uttered from people's lips. But it made me think, could this be a way for buyers who are outcashed for a lot of properties because the market, now we're only going to have 14.9% appreciation,
right?
And the overbids and stuff like that, things like that, all the things. do we start looking at more creative ways to get people into homes? Sometimes a seller doesn't want to sell right away for one reason or another. Maybe the move they made may not be the move that they think they're going to have forever, and may want to come back to the house.
Yeah, but at least option to buy doesn't
No, I
allow them to
know,
do
I
that.
know that, and maybe a
I
seller
was just
is,
letting other people know that.
yeah, and maybe the seller is just being a sweetheart and helping these folks out.
Right. And I think usually they know the people.
Yeah.
When they do something like that, it's not just thrown out to anybody and everybody. But it used to be just like you said. I remember in the 90s they did a lot of those because where the values were in all the homes and everything. One of the things that I see potentially happening going forward is people assuming people's current loan and getting an additional loan for the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So if the people have a 2.99 interest rate for a 30-year loan and they have 25 years left on it and they want to sell, the people coming in and assuming that first loan, when the rates are higher, and then getting a second mortgage or something else to make up the difference. And that's what I'm going to see a lot more of.
I think you're right. And, these days you have to formally assume, you have to be completely approved for that first loan, that first mortgage. And sometimes, you can do that would be scary if they did, but you can do the other percentage that you need to have down, little less equity, in your property. That's the scary part to me, is when you start messing with that equity position. But you've got these low interest rates, and you still have low interest rates if you think about it. But if they get much higher, you're going to see people doing that again.
Right.
Back in the day when you had that FHA assumable that you did not have to qualify. What do we call that? A subject to?
Right. That was VA too.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. But now, thank goodness, you actually have to qualify. Because what if you don't have skin? Who cares, right?
Yeah. Well, then we just repeat the problem we had before.
Yes, but we don't have those loan programs. Those problems that we had before.
Right.
So we're not going to, again, we have to get 3.7 million homes nationwide in inventory, and then we might have a problem.
I don't see it happening real quick.
I don't see it happening for a long time.
Yeah.
So basically, don't do a lease option to buy unless you know them. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm just trying to understand.
No, what I'm saying is it's an option that's out there.
Okay.
No pun intended. Lease option. There's a lot of things to think about on the buyer side. There's a lot of things to think about on the seller side, but it can work. So
anything that you've seen recently pop up on any of your transactions you need to, people should worry about? That was just, I had a question. It's just, Nope.
The only thing that I've been hearing rumblings in the office is some people are having appraisal gaps. And, back in the day, a week and a half ago, buyers were covering the appraisal gap with up to a certain amount of money, not to exceed the purchase price, the original purchase price. Buyers were removing the contingency of the appraisal and just figuring they're putting enough money down that they could just take out a little bit larger loan if they needed to make up that gap difference. This happens every time the market moves quickly, even though it's been a year and a half and prices move up. What we talked about a couple days ago is, closed escrows are the past. What's going on today is the present, which dictates the future a little bit, but the future is always the past. That's kind of deep, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
You don't follow?
No.
Yeah.
Let me get my Bible out.
Okay. I'll wait.
No, I get it. Basically. And usually we have this problem. A lot of people don't realize in the first part of the year. Right.
Yep.
Up until we hit summertime, up until that, because a lot of times things are going through and the market hasn't caught up with putting everybody, the comps in and everything hasn't closed yet.
Right.
So we've seen a quick increase. We hadn't had a lot of appraisal gaps. Up until this point, but I've seen a couple more recently, especially up in Tahoe and other places. And then people just take out, like you said, either they take it out of their down payment or they put a little bit more money down.
Right.
I still see that's going to happen to us. As long as we have 15% appreciation, we're going to still have that.
14.9.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
whoever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up is just stop listening to the news out there. Stop listening to if you see a headline before you make a decision, read the article.
Yeah. Don't just read the headline. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Just there to grab your attention.
And remember, there's only 2 degrees of separation in Modesto. So
Next year it'll be 1.
How can you have 1?
Yeah, it's a degree.
Okay. All right. That's all I had today.
I don't have much else. I think about a lot of things, but some things we just can't say on air.
You mean because it just gets you in trouble? Or?
No, it just doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Gotcha. What else? The biggest problem I see out there happening is the Fed's going to probably do a 0.5 point the next time, then a 3/4 and a 3/4, and then recession.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, recession.
Should we talk about what happens in a recession?
Yeah, let's do that a little bit.
So basically, does that affect house prices?
Not really.
Does that affect loan?
Not really.
Interest rates?
Not really.
Yes, it does.
Interest rates it does.
down.
But yes.
If you keep talking, I'll find the page that shows every recession. Interest rates went down.
Yeah, I was missing what you were saying. I was thinking about the loan process. It doesn't.
Actually, the process has been getting easier and easier to a point where pretty much we can all get these things done so fast. We're like, do we really need a 30-day escrow? Can we get this done in 14 days?
Well, we can. A lot of times the seller needs the 30 days.
I know.
They need to go someplace else.
Right.
Which is interesting in Henderson. That's in Nevada, folks.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what you're talking about.
It's common. It's pretty commonplace for their market for buyers to offer a quick close and up to 60 days rent back, usually very inexpensively and or for free.
Wow.
So because they know the sellers have to go someplace and find another piece of property. Because this inventory issue is nationwide, it doesn't matter where they're going.
Right.
It's still hard to find a home and compete.
Right.
And if you have your escrow closed, maybe you're a cash buyer in that new market.
I can see that. All right. So mortgage rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically all these little boxes here are recessions. Okay. These are recessions. So let's go way back to 1980. Get your bell bottoms on.
Yeah.
Get that. Anyway, so
the white angel flights.
Yeah. Anyway, so rates were 18.5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 17, almost 17. And then he had rates drop to 12.5. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
And then they went back up to 19 something. We won't even get it. And then we had a recession, and then they dropped, and they kept dropping and dropping. And then we had another recession in the 90s. And that what was the thing about this, if you go back and look at all the different feds that were in charge of what was going on and what they had to do to get rates down, and get inflation down to 3.5% during this period of time here. This was Volcker, and he had to. So he raised short-term interest rates almost to 20%, and that was to get the inflation down to 3.5. So when we're talking about rates could go up higher before we go lower, that's basically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so all these little lines are recessions. This is 2002. That was a big drop. And then we have this whole thing here. And then we have the Great Recession, which is anomaly.
Yeah.
Right. A total anomaly because it was caused by a housing market of overbuilding houses. And that's the issue. And then we go forward here, 2020, when we all were stuck at home for a short period of time. That was a recession right here. And then rates plummeted. Now we're back up here, which seems like really expensive rates, but it's not that big.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
All right. And then let's go to the next slide if it goes there. Oh, look, I got all the interest rates for you now. Ooh, look at that. Ooh.
I like the graphics.
All right. So houses stay strong through recession. Look. So in the 60s, right, we had a recession, then they were kind of somewhat flat, and then we had 71. Ooh, that was horrible.
And contrary to most people's belief, I do not remember the 60s.
Shocking. Most people from the 60s don't remember the 60s. Yeah. All right. So then we see all these recessions, and you see housing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to this issue, the anomaly we talked about, which was the Great Recession.
Right.
It should have been a depression, but nobody wanted to count the GDP the third quarter to make it a depression. So because that made
You're getting pretty deep, but go ahead.
But that's what it is.
Yep.
A depression is like 3/4 of GDP down a certain amount. And then so I lost my damn mouse. Anyway, so then rates dropped, right?
Right.
Which actually house values actually dropped. This is we're talking about values right here. And we hit here, and then we absorbed all the extra homes, right? And we started taking off. We hit a recession in 2020. Look what happened to housing. We're going to hit another recession right in here sometime. And that means housing will keep going.
Well, and a lot of those homes where you see those prices
right
going down
here.
Yeah. That was overbuild and foreclosures.
Yeah, well, it was because we overbuilt. We don't have to.
Right.
You know, we built the most amount of homes.
Which came first?
The homes.
The chicken.
They built too many homes.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's what we were talking about. We had that peak. During that 06 year here, it was 1.6 million homes, and this was like 1.5 million homes, which is the most. You can't see this on the slide. This is a different slide, but I'm just showing you where the record.
No, I'm just following your mouse.
Can you follow it?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's all I wanted.
It's making me sick, but
you just think of Blair Witch.
Oh.
Blair Witch
Most
Project.
people have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, go watch that movie.
Yeah.
All right, that's basically it. So basically, don't freak out about the market. Yes, rates are a little bit higher, but historically, these are the rates of the 2018s and 2019s, and everybody was like, "Well, I'm gonna go buy me a house." The only difference is, the house values are about double.
Yeah. Which happens.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, look at some of the old newspaper articles where in like 1935 or 1945, there was an article in the San Francisco Chronicle that said there is no way the U.S. can afford these house prices. I think they were at $19,000 for a average 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and sign of the times.
Right. And back then, you didn't have Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, all those programs. You had to take out pretty much a 5-year loan, and they could call that due and payable at any time.
Yep.
And that was why the Great Depression happened, and how HUD came out. They made HUD and all that, and then they started the different programs so that people wouldn't lose their homes
in a 5-year period.
Correct. So it changed everything from 1942 on, which is where we are now.
So today, I think you just want to pay attention to yourself, work hard, save some money, look for a good lender, and have fun.
Yeah.
Don't worry so much about the home prices, because those are going to continue to go up, I think, for a while. Not crazily.
Well, it depends on what you mean. Not crazily. Is that over 5% appreciation? Because average is 4 to 5% over the last like 56 years. That's our average.
Right. And I would say that in a year and a half or 2 years time, we might be at that point in appreciation on homes, which becomes that would be awesome. Yeah. Which becomes what we call a kind of a normal market, where buyers and sellers, they can work things out. It's not so over competitive that a lot of buyers are just locked out of the market.
What was his name? A.B. Normal? Young Frankenstein?
I brought you someone else's brain. Abby Normal.
That's right.
We digress.
That's right. We don't get into the Joe Dirt stuff now.
Yeah.
So basically, that's basically what we kind of want to go over. Because, I mean, appreciation is, even at 15%, we're pricing a lot of people out of the market. At 10%, you still are. We need to get back. And the only way to get back down to 5 is if rates go to 9, or they start building houses in California and change a lot of stuff. So get involved. There's, if you go check out there's a bill coming, an AB something that's looking at making a flip rule to 7 years. Do you know about that?
Yeah, it's AB. I'm going to go blank on the number. We're talking about it this week at CAR meetings. We've talked about it in the winter meetings. We're on it. It's crazy. We're not happy about it.
Yeah. So next week, can you get that information?
Absolutely.
And we can tell everybody about it and keep repeating.
Well, next week I won't be able to be here. I'll be in Sacramento all week. The CAR business meetings are starting Monday and going through Friday. But I'll be back Friday, and I can do the week after. You'll have to get some other dude, or
I'll just do it by myself.
There
you can just funnel. Actually, Monday.
I'd be happy to funnel you the information.
Yeah, well, I can't do it Monday because I'm actually going to be in court. I'm getting a restraining order against one of my neighbors up in the foothills.
Wow.
They just think they have the rights to do stuff. Walk across my property for a quarter mile, and I'm tired of it. So that's what the sheriff told me to do. So that's what we're doing. So don't get upset with people. Just take them to court. I'm just saying, what I mean by that is don't take it in your own hands, right? Don't fight them. Don't yell at them. Don't beat them. Take them to court. And then hopefully that works out for you. We'll see. I just want the guy to stop walking across my property because he's older. And if he falls down and hurts himself, who's liable? I am.
That would be you.
Yeah. So that's my whole thing.
That's the freaky thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's older. I mean, if he's old like me, he probably doesn't know where the hell he is.
No, he's way older than you, and he does know, and that's the problem. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We digress. All right, everybody have a great
week.
Yep.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, sir.